Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Men might walk around acting like they made of steel, like nothing gets to them. But deep down, they're human. They've got hearts. They've got insecurities. And here's the truth. Men love to hear something that only about 1% of women ever say. It's not about money. It's not about gifts. And it's not about some big grand gesture. It's about words. Words that hit him right in the chest, that make him stand a little taller, that make him walk out that door feeling like he can take on the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something a lot of people don't know. Men, as tough and as confident as they might seem, crave verbal affirmation more than most women realize. Now, I know that might sound surprising because men walk around like they've got everything under control. They act like they don't need anybody to tell them they're doing a good job. They act like they don't need compliments, but trust me, they need it. They just won't say it out loud. You've never met a man who wakes up in the morning, sits on the edge of the bed and says, you know what? I really need someone to affirm me today. No, he's going to go out there, put on his armor, and fight the battles of the day. But deep down, he's hoping that when he comes home, there's somebody there who sees him, really sees him, and tells him that what he's doing matters. See, men are raised to be providers, protectors, problem solvers. The world tells them they're not supposed to show weakness, not supposed to need emotional support, not supposed to care about what people say about them. But that's a lie. Men might not cry over words the way some women do, but believe me, they carry them. You tell a man he's useless, he might not say anything, but he'll remember it for years. You tell him he's a good man, he's capable, he's strong. And that will sit in his heart just as long, maybe longer. Words for a man are like water for a plant. Without them, he can survive for a while. But eventually, that spirit starts to dry up. The thing is, most women underestimate the power of their words when it comes to their man. You can love him in all kinds of ways, cook for him, take care of him, support him. But there's something about spoken word of affirmation that reaches a part of him nothing else does. When he's been grinding all day at work, dealing with bosses, deadlines, and people who couldn't care less about his feelings, and then he comes home and hears you say, baby, I appreciate everything you do for us. It's like a switch flips. You've just reminded him why he works so hard. You've given meaning to the struggle. Now, here's the tricky part. Because men don't always ask for it, a lot of women don't realize it's missing. But it is. And it's not just about saying something nice when he's on top of his game. It's about noticing him even when he's not. When life hits him hard, when his plans aren't working out, when he's feeling like less than what he wants to be, that's when your affirmation means the most. Saying, I believe in you when he's winning is good, but saying, I believe in you when he's losing, that's what makes you irreplaceable. I've seen men walk a little taller, smile a little bigger, and work a little harder because of one simple sentence from the right woman. And I've also seen men lose their spark because they never heard those words. Men may not talk about it in the barbershop, but when they're alone, they replay in their minds the last time someone told them they were proud, that they were valued, that they were enough. The world will beat a man down and tell him he's never doing enough, never achieving enough, never providing enough. But one voice, your voice, has the power to cut through all that noise. So when I say men crave verbal affirmation, I'm not talking about flattery for no reason. I'm talking about genuine, from the heart words that tell him he matters. It's the recognition of his effort, the acknowledgement of his character, the appreciation of his sacrifices. It's letting him know that even if the world doesn't see him, you do. That kind of affirmation doesn't just make a man feel good, it makes him stronger, more focused, more committed. And when he feels that from you, he'll give back to you in ways you didn't even know were possible. Because to a man, knowing that the woman he loves truly sees him is one of the greatest feelings in the world. Men might act like they've got it all together, like nothing you say or don't say can touch them, but the truth is they crave verbal affirmation more than most women realize. They won't tell you that straight up because somewhere along the way, they were taught that needing encouragement makes them weak. So instead, they keep it to themselves, hoping that someone will notice without them having to ask. They can go through an entire day handling stress, pressure, and challenges, but still be carrying that quiet hope that when they walk through the door, the person they care about most will look at them and say something that lets them know their effort matters. Most people underestimate how deeply words sink into a man's heart. He can get by without hearing them for a while, but it's like water for a plant. Eventually, without them, something inside begins to wither. Men face a world that often measures them solely by performance, income, or status. Every day they hear silent or spoken messages telling them they're not enough, not doing enough. Now, that's why hearing from someone they love that they are valued, appreciated, and respected is so powerful. It doesn't just feel good in the moment, it anchors them. It gives them something solid to hold on to when everything else is shaky. Now, when you add genuine compliments into that mix, it's like fuel to their confidence that lasts far beyond the moment it's given. A man can remember a sincere compliment for years, and I mean years. It's not just about telling him he's handsome or strong, though trust me, that doesn't hurt. It's about noticing the details that matter to him. Maybe you tell him he has a way of making people feel safe, or that his work ethic inspires you, or that you admire how he handles pressure. Those aren't just words. Those are affirmations tied to his identity, to the things that make him who he is. When a man hears a compliment like that, it doesn't just put a smile on his face. It stays in his mind and shows up in how he carries himself. He might face the same challenges tomorrow, but he'll face them with a little more belief in himself because someone he trusts told him he's capable. That kind of confidence is different from arrogance. It's quiet, grounded, and steady, and it often starts with a single sentence that costs nothing to say but means everything to hear. The beauty of this is how small it seems in the moment, yet how big its effect can be. You can tell a man, "You looked sharp in that suit today," and weeks later he's still thinking about it when he puts it back on. You can tell him, "I'm proud of how you handled that situation," and the next time he's in a tough spot, he'll remember that someone believes in his judgment. Compliments have this way of replaying in a man's mind, especially when they come from someone whose opinion truly matters to him. It's important to understand that for most men, they don't need constant praise, but they do need to know their efforts are seen. When you give a genuine compliment, you're telling him, "I see you, I notice what you do, I value the man you are." And you might be surprised how much harder he works to live up to that recognition. Words have a way of setting a standard in his mind. If you tell him he's thoughtful, he'll strive to keep being thoughtful. If you tell him he's strong, he'll dig deeper to keep showing that strength. So many men are walking around with an empty tank, looking confident on the outside, but quietly feeling invisible on the inside. One sincere affirmation, one well-placed compliment can change not just his mood, but his mindset. And when a man feels genuinely seen and appreciated, it doesn't just make him feel good, it makes him want to show up even better for the people who gave him that feeling. That's the kind of impact your words can have when they're real, specific, and from the heart. Men may walk around like they've got everything figured out, but the truth is they crave verbal affirmation far more than most women realize. They've been taught to act like they don't need it, like they're made of stone, but deep down, they're hoping for it. They spend their days taking on challenges, carrying responsibilities, and wearing that mask of strength. But inside, they still looking for someone who notices the weight they carry. They might never admit it out loud, but one encouraging sentence from the right person can completely shift the way they feel about themselves. The world measures men in numbers, money, status, achievements, but rarely in the quiet ways they show up every day. And when no one speaks life into them, that silence can feel heavier than any workload. A man can live without hearing affirmations for a while, but like a plant without water, something inside will eventually dry up. That's why words of affirmation aren't just nice to hear, they're necessary. They remind him that his effort means something, that what he does isn't invisible, and when those words come in the form of a genuine compliment, it's like handing him a battery pack for his confidence. Men remember sincere compliments far longer than most people think. Tell a man he's got great style, and he'll pull that shirt out of the closet more often. Tell him you admire how he stays calm under pressure, and he'll carry himself even more steadily the next time life gets chaotic. It's not just about surface level flattery. It's about showing him you see something real and specific in him. Those are the words that echo in his mind on the hard days. A man can walk into a room full of people and look unshakable, but still be replaying that one sentence you told him weeks ago. And it's not because he's vain, it's because in a world that constantly demands more of him, your words told him he's already enough. That sticks. That builds him in ways even he might not fully understand. A genuine compliment doesn't just change his mood, it changes his posture, his focus, and his belief in himself. Now, here's the part most people overlook. Appreciation for his efforts will mean more to him than almost any material gift you could give. Men want to know that the work they're putting in for their family, their partner, their future is noticed and valued. You can buy him something expensive and he'll like it, sure, but tell him, I see how hard you work for us and I'm grateful for it. And you've just given him something no store can sell. That sentence becomes a reason for him to keep pushing when he's tired. It becomes proof that the sacrifices he makes aren't going unseen. When you acknowledge a man's effort, you're telling him his role matters. That's huge. Men are wired to protect and provide, but without appreciation, even the strongest man can start to feel like it's never enough. On the other hand, when you say, I appreciate you getting up early every day to make things happen, you're feeling a part of him that money can't touch. That kind of recognition isn't about stroking his ego, it's about feeding his spirit. Some people think men are simple when it comes to love, but the truth is, they notice everything. They notice when their hard work is ignored, and they notice when it's acknowledged. They remember the nights they stayed late at work and no one said a word. And they remember the times you caught them off guard with a heartfelt thank you for what you do. Those moments matter. They keep him going. When you combine verbal affirmation, genuine compliments, and true appreciation for his efforts, you're not just making him feel good in the moment, you're giving him the emotional support that fuels his drive. And when a man feels supported in that way, he's not just more confident, he's more connected, more committed, and more motivated to keep showing up as the best version of himself. Men might carry themselves like nothing can touch them, but they crave verbal affirmation more than most women realize. They might not come out and ask for it because they've been taught to hide any need for emotional support, but that doesn't mean they don't need it. Every day they deal with the weight of expectations, the pressure to provide, and the silent demand to always be strong. But beneath all that, they're hoping someone sees the effort and tells them it matters. They can go days, weeks, even months without hearing those words. But just like water to a plant, affirmation feeds something inside them that can't be replaced by anything else. And when that affirmation comes in the form of a genuine compliment, the effect lasts far longer than most people think. Men remember a sincere compliment for years. You tell a man you love the way he stays calm under pressure, and it will stick in his mind the next time he's in a tough situation. You tell him you admire his dedication, and it becomes part of the way he sees himself. This isn't about empty flattery. It's about speaking to the truth of who he is and the strengths he shows, even when he doesn't notice them himself. A genuine compliment has the power to shift his mood, his focus, and his confidence. He might face the same challenges tomorrow, but he'll face them with more certainty because someone he values told him he was capable. That one moment of encouragement can make him stand taller, work harder, and believe in himself just a little more than he did before. It's not magic, it's the quiet power of being seen. But it's not just compliments that matter. Appreciation for his efforts will always mean more to him than any material gift. You can buy him something nice and he'll appreciate it, but those things eventually fade or break. What doesn't fade is hearing, "I see how hard you work for us," or "I appreciate the sacrifices you make." Those words hit different because they tell him his effort has value. They tell him that what he's doing isn't going unnoticed, and that's what keeps him pushing forward even on the days when he's exhausted. A man can work long hours, handle tough situations, and shoulder responsibilities without complaint. But when someone acknowledges his effort, it energizes him in a way no paycheck can. That recognition says, "I see you." And that's something every man, no matter how strong or independent, wants to feel. Appreciation doesn't just make him feel good in the moment. It strengthens his connection to the person who gives it. Along with affirmation, compliments, and appreciation, there's another key piece: respect. Respectful words make a man feel valued and secure in a way nothing else can. You can love him with your whole heart, but if your words cut him down, he will carry that wound. On the flip side, when you speak to him with respect, especially during disagreements or tough moments, you send the message that his dignity matters to you. Respect is more than just avoiding harsh words. It's about choosing words that show trust and belief in his abilities, even when things aren't perfect. Saying, "I know you'll figure it out," or "I trust your judgment," reinforces his confidence and makes him feel safe in the relationship. That safety isn't about control. It's about knowing he can be himself without fear of being belittled. The truth is, respect is the foundation for everything else. A man can receive compliments and appreciation, but if they come from someone who regularly talks down to him, they won't mean much. Respect turns those words into something he can build on. It tells him he's not just loved for what he does, but valued for who he is. When you combine verbal affirmation, sincere compliments, deep appreciation for his efforts, and respect in the way you speak to him, you give a man something the world rarely offers, a place where he feels both strong and safe. And when a man feels that combination, it changes the way he shows up in every area of his life. Men may carry themselves like they're unshakable, but they crave verbal affirmation more than most women realize. They may never say it out loud because they've been conditioned to hide their emotional needs, but deep down, they want to hear that their effort matters, that they're doing well, and that they're appreciated. Every day they face pressure, challenges, and the silent expectation to always be strong. Affirmation is like fuel for their spirit, and without it, even the most confident man can start to feel unseen. When that affirmation comes in the form of a genuine compliment, it's even more powerful. Men can carry a sincere compliment with them for years. It doesn't have to be about looks. Though a well-timed, "you look good today" will never hurt, but it's the deeper ones that truly stick. Tell him you admire his patience, his leadership, or his determination, and you've given him something he can stand on. That one moment of recognition can change the way he walks into a room, tackles a problem, or handles a tough day. A real compliment isn't fluff. It's an investment in his confidence. Appreciation for his efforts often matters more to him than any material gift you could offer. You can buy something expensive, but it won't compare to the feeling he gets when you look at him and say, "I see how hard you work for us, and I'm grateful." Those words cut deeper than anything money can buy because they acknowledge what he gives, often without asking for anything in return. A man can spend years providing and protecting without much recognition, but when he's appreciated, it strengthens his resolve to keep going. Respect plays an equally important role. A man can be loved but still feel small if the words he hears are dismissive or cutting. Respectful words make him feel valued in his role, not just as a partner, but as a man. It's not just about avoiding hurtful comments. It's about actively speaking with trust, belief, and care, especially during conflict, saying, "I know you figure it out," or "I trust you," builds his sense of security and lets him know that you see him as capable even when things aren't perfect. Respect forms the foundation that allows all other affirmations to take root and mean something. Encouragement during challenges is where everything comes together. When a man is going through a hard season, whether it's financial struggles, career setbacks, or personal doubts, the words you choose can either weaken him further or give him the strength to push through. Encouragement doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means reminding him of who he is when he's at his best. It's saying, "You've got this. I've seen you handle worse. I believe in you, and meaning every word. Those phrases become a lifeline he can hold on to when the weight of the world feels like too much. Encouragement also deepens the connection between you. It tells him you're not just there for the good times, but for the storms too. It builds trust, because when a man sees that you still believe in him when he's at his lowest, he knows your love isn't conditional. That belief can ignite something inside him, motivating him to fight harder, not just for himself, but for the person who stood beside him when things got rough. When you combine verbal affirmation, genuine compliments, appreciation for his efforts, respectful words, and encouragement during challenges, you create a kind of emotional support that few men ever experience. And when a man feels that, it changes the way he shows up in his relationship, in his work, and in his life. Those words cost nothing to give, but to him, they're priceless. Men can appear strong, steady, and unshakable, but they crave verbal affirmation more than most women realize. They might never say it out loud because they've been taught to hide their emotional needs, but they still want to hear that their effort matters and that they are seen. Every day they carry expectations, responsibilities, and silent pressures that can wear them down. Words of affirmation are like oxygen to their spirit, and without them, even the strongest man can begin to feel invisible. When affirmation comes as a genuine compliment, its impact lasts far longer than most imagine. Men remember sincere compliments for years. It's not just about telling him he looks good, though those words are never wasted. It's about recognizing the deeper qualities: his discipline, his patience, his kindness, his strength. Tell a man you admire the way he leads or how he makes people feel safe, and you've given him something that shapes the way he sees himself. That one sentence can stay with him, echoing in his mind on days when doubt tries to take over. Appreciation for his efforts often means more to him than any material gift. You could spend money on something nice, and he might like it, but it won't compare to hearing, "I see how hard you work for us, and I'm thankful." Those words go straight to his heart because they tell him that the sacrifices he makes aren't going unnoticed. Men will endure long hours, hard labor, and countless responsibilities without complaint. But when their effort is acknowledged, it fuels them in a way nothing else can. Respectful words are just as vital. A man can feel love but still feel small if the tone and words he hears regularly tear him down. Respect means choosing to speak in a way that affirms his value, even during disagreements. It's saying, "I trust your judgment," or "I know you'll figure this out," rather than undermining his confidence. Respect makes him feel safe, and that safety allows him to show up fully without fear of being belittled or diminished. Without respect, other words lose their meaning with it. They become powerful tools for connection. Encouragement during challenges is where everything you say matters most. When a man is in a season of difficulty, whether it's a career setback, personal doubt, or a problem he can't seem to solve, the right words can be the difference between him giving up or pushing forward. Encouragement doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It's about reminding him of his strength when he's forgotten it himself. You've handled worse before,